At 2:17 in the morning, the sky over Denver changed. There was no storm. No warning from the weather service. The night had been completely normal until the stars suddenly began disappearing. Not behind clouds, not one by one. They simply vanished. A taxi driver stopped at a red light and looked through his windshield. Across the street, a woman leaving a pharmacy froze in place. On the roof of an apartment building, 3 teenagers stopped laughing when one of them pointed toward the mountains. "Guys, look." A black line had appeared across the western horizon. It was perfectly straight. For a few seconds, nobody understood what they were seeing. Then the line moved. The darkness wasn't spreading across the sky. It was coming toward them. Phones began buzzing throughout the city. Emergency alerts appeared on screens and immediately disappeared. Cell service became unstable. Television channels turned into static. At Denver International Airport, controllers suddenly lost contact with Flight 614. Flight 614, Denver Center. Confirm your altitude? Nothing. The controller tried again. Flight 614, do you copy? Only static. Then the aircraft disappeared from radar. A technician stared at the screen. That's impossible. Before anyone could respond, something enormous moved through the clouds. The first ship emerged silently. It was wider than a football stadium, completely black, with no visible engines or windows. It stopped above the city as if gravity had no effect on it. Then another ship appeared, then 5, then dozens. Within minutes, thousands of alien vessels covered the sky. The same thing was happening across the world. New York, London, Tokyo, Los Angeles. Every major city was watching the same impossible invasion. Military bases went on full alert. Fighter jets launched. Governments moved their leaders into secure locations. Then every electronic screen on Earth turned on. Televisions, phones, billboards, airport displays, computer monitors, even devices that weren't connected to the internet. Every screen showed a black background with a strange white symbol in the center. Then a voice spoke. It wasn't robotic. It sounded calm, almost human. This planet has been identified as a viable world. Millions of people listened. Your civilization has reached the stage required for occupation. A pause. Your governments will surrender control of military forces, energy systems, communications networks, and strategic resources. Another pause. If resistance is detected, your cities will be destroyed. The screens went black. For several seconds, the world stood silent. Then chaos began. People ran through the streets. Cars crashed. Parents grabbed their children. Military commanders shouted orders. The first military response came over the Pacific Ocean. 12 American fighter jets approached one of the alien ships. The lead pilot stared at the enormous structure ahead. "Control, I have visual. Copy, maintain distance." The ship didn't move. Then a thin blue light appeared beneath it. The pilot's instruments flickered. "Control?" His engine suddenly shut down. "I'm losing power!" "Eject, eject." The pilot pulled the handle. His seat launched from the aircraft. One fighter lost power. Then another. Within seconds, all 12 aircraft were falling. The alien ship hadn't fired a missile. It didn't need to. An electromagnetic field had simply switched the aircraft off. Humanity had just discovered its first major weakness. Its weapons didn't work. By sunrise, alien structures began appearing outside major cities. Massive black towers rose from empty fields without construction equipment or workers. Then the soldiers arrived. They were tall, heavily armored, and completely silent. Their faces were hidden behind smooth helmets. They carried strange weapons that glowed with blue energy. The first ground battle outside Denver lasted less than 10 minutes. American forces opened fire. Bullets struck the alien armor and disappeared in flashes of blue light. A tank fired. The shell exploded before reaching its target. Then the aliens raised their weapons. Blue pulses crossed the battlefield. Armored vehicles stopped moving. The defensive line collapsed. The aliens continued toward the city. By noon, Denver's military command center was barely functioning. Every screen displayed the same message. System failure. General David Carter entered the room. "Status," an officer stepped forward. "We've lost most Western bases. Air Force, severely compromised. Navy? Trying to regroup. Missile defense? Offline. Carter stared at the satellite map. Large sections of the country were already marked red, occupied. Who's still operating independently? A technician raised his hand. There is one facility. Military? Technically. What do they do? Research, radar, communications, materials, science. Get me whoever is in charge. The technician opened a secure connection. Static filled the room. Then a voice answered. Hello? Carter stepped toward the microphone. This is General David Carter. Identify yourself. My name is Marcus Hale. Military? No, sir. Then why are you on a military network? Because your people asked me to repair the radar. Carter frowned. Can you repair it? No. The room went quiet. Then what can you do? Marcus paused. I think I know why their ships are protected. Carter leaned forward. Explain. Their shield isn't conventional. It's constantly correcting itself. How? Frequency modulation. Can we interfere with it? I think so. Can you prove it? I can try. Carter looked at the clock. We're losing cities. I know. We may lose the country. I know. How long do you need? Marcus looked at the alien data covering his screens. Not long. The connection ended. Deep inside the mountain facility, Marcus returned to his laboratory. The room was filled with cables, broken monitors, circuit boards, and old equipment. On his workbench sat a piece of alien armor recovered from a destroyed vehicle. Marcus placed it beneath a scanner. At first, nothing happened. Then he changed the frequency. The readings changed. He tried again. The material responded. Marcus frowned. That can't be right. He compared the armor's energy signature with the shields surrounding the alien ships. They matched. The armor wasn't independent. It was connected to the same energy system protecting the ships. Marcus began running calculations. Then he noticed something, a repeating gap. Every 43 seconds, the alien field changed frequency for a brief moment. A weakness. Marcus opened a new schematic. He built a device designed to interfere with the field. The first version failed. The second overheated. The third exploded. The fourth worked for less than a second. The fifth lasted 2 seconds. Marcus changed the power regulator. 3 seconds. He stopped. 3 seconds wasn't much, but it was enough to prove one thing. The aliens could be made vulnerable. Marcus picked up the prototype. It was ugly. A metal box with 2 cables, a homemade frequency controller, and a small blue indicator light. He pressed the switch. The scanner showed a 3-second disruption. Marcus smiled. Then the laboratory lights flickered. He looked at his screens. One of the alien frequencies had changed. Something had detected him. A warning appeared. Unknown signal detected. Marcus isolated the signal. It was coming from orbit. A pattern appeared. 3 pulses. A pause. 3 more. Then another 3. Marcus translated the pattern. A message appeared on his screen. Human resistance detected. Another message followed. Location identified. Marcus slowly looked toward the laboratory door. Outside, thousands of alien ships filled the night sky. They weren't simply occupying Earth anymore. They were hunting someone, and Marcus Hale had just become their target. The warning on Marcus Hale's screen disappeared. For a moment, the laboratory was completely silent. Then the mountain shook. Marcus grabbed the prototype from his desk as tools fell from the shelves. A deep vibration moved through the walls. He looked toward the reinforced window. A white beam had appeared outside. It struck the forest below the facility and slowly moved toward the mountain. Marcus reached for the emergency phone. Security! No answer. He tried again. Security! This time, footsteps thundered through the hallway. 2 armed soldiers rushed into the laboratory. What happened? One asked. Marcus pointed toward the window. They found us. The soldiers looked outside. Something was moving through the trees, fast, much too fast. One soldier raised his rifle. Contact! Gunfire erupted somewhere below. More soldiers rushed through the corridor. An officer appeared at the laboratory entrance. Dr. Hale, General Carter wants you moved immediately. Where? Underground Command. Marcus grabbed his equipment case. Is that still secure? The officer hesitated. Not anymore. A massive impact shook the building. The lights went out. Emergency lights switched on. Red light filled the hallway. Someone shouted from below, "They're inside!" The soldiers raised their weapons. Marcus followed them toward the evacuation shaft. Behind them came the sound of gunfire, then silence, then another burst. The officer looked back. "Keep moving!" They reached a reinforced transport vehicle hidden beneath the facility. "Get inside!" Marcus climbed aboard. 6 soldiers followed. The steel doors closed. The vehicle began moving through a narrow underground tunnel. Nobody spoke. Then the vehicle stopped. The driver looked at the controls. Power failure. Everyone turned toward the darkness behind them. Heavy footsteps echoed through the tunnel. Slow, measured, getting closer. 2 blue lights appeared in the distance. The soldiers raised their weapons. An alien stepped into view. It was much larger than the creatures Marcus had seen outside Denver. Its armor was thicker. Its helmet was different. It looked like a commander. One soldier whispered, "What is that?" Marcus looked at the prototype in his hands. He remembered the 3-second disruption. He pressed the switch. A pulse moved through the tunnel. The alien stopped. Its armor flickered. Marcus shouted, "Now!" The soldiers opened fire. Bullets struck the creature's chest. For the first time, the alien staggered. Sarah, one of the soldiers, fired directly at its helmet. The alien fell to one knee. Marcus's device began overheating. "Move!" The driver restarted the vehicle. It surged forward. The transport passed the alien at full speed and disappeared into the darkness. Marcus looked through the rear window. The creature was standing again. It wasn't chasing them. It was simply watching. Marcus knew that look. The hunt had begun. The transport emerged from the mountain several miles away. Behind them, the research facility was burning. Black smoke covered the sky. Marcus stepped outside and stared at the destruction. Years of research were gone. Everything they had built was gone. An officer approached him. "General Carter is waiting." Marcus took the radio. "Carter!" The general's voice came through the static. "Marcus, are you alive?" "Yes." "Good. The facility is gone." "I know." Marcus looked at the burning mountain. "They came for the device." Carter was silent. "They know it works." Marcus continued. "I know." Marcus looked down at the damaged prototype. "Then we need to build more." "How many?" "As many as possible." "How long?" Marcus looked at the smoke rising into the sky. "Give me a workshop. You'll have one." 2 days later, the world was no longer pretending the invasion could be stopped through diplomacy. The aliens occupied major cities. Military bases were destroyed. Highways were controlled by checkpoints. Entire neighborhoods disappeared behind walls of black metal. People were ordered to surrender weapons, communication devices, and vehicles. Those who resisted were taken away, but something else was spreading through the surviving population. Hope. Rumors traveled from city to city. Stories about soldiers who had survived. Stories about weapons that could make the aliens vulnerable. Stories about an engineer who had discovered their weakness. Nobody knew Marcus's real name. Most people simply called him the Engineer. Deep beneath an abandoned subway system in Chicago, the resistance was beginning to form. The station had been closed for years. Now nearly 300 people lived there. Soldiers, doctors, mechanics, engineers, police officers, teachers, parents, teenagers. People who had never fired a weapon before. Everyone had lost something. Marcus arrived at the station late that night. General Carter was waiting. "You look terrible," Carter said. Marcus dropped his equipment case. "You should see the other guy." Carter almost smiled. Marcus opened the case. Inside were pieces of the damaged prototype. "I need a workshop." Carter pointed toward the far end of the station. "You have one." Marcus walked inside. The room contained generators, military equipment, tools, cables, and stolen alien components. It wasn't much, but it was enough. Marcus began working. For 12 hours, nobody disturbed him. The first prototype failed. The second overheated. The third exploded. The fourth worked. By sunrise, 12 devices were sitting on the table. Carter entered the workshop. Marcus looked up. "Don't touch them." "I wasn't going to." "You were." Carter smiled. "Maybe." Marcus handed him one of the devices. "This can interrupt the alien shield." "For how long?" "About 3 seconds." Carter frowned. "That's not much." "No. Can we use it on their ships?" "Not yet." "Why?" "The ships are generating too much energy." Carter nodded. "So we use it on the soldiers." Marcus shook his head. "We start with their towers." Carter looked at him. "The towers?" Marcus brought up a map. Every alien tower on the continent appeared as a red point. "They're connected to each other?" "Yes." Marcus zoomed out. "The towers aren't just bases, they're part of a power network." Carter stared at the map. "If we take one down, the others become weaker. And if we take enough down?" Marcus looked at him. "We could weaken the entire occupation grid." Carter smiled. "Then let's find our first target." Their first operation was called Blackout. The target was an alien tower outside Chicago. 12 resistance fighters prepared for the mission. Captain Ryan Cole was in command. Before the invasion, Ryan had served in the military. Now he commanded one of the largest resistance groups in the region. Beside him was Daniel Brooks, an explosives expert. Sarah Mitchell stood near the vehicle, checking her rifle. She had once been a test pilot. Now she was one of the few people alive who had seen the alien ships from the air and survived. Marcus handed her a disruption device. "You're sure this works?" "It worked in the laboratory." Sarah stared at him. "That wasn't my question." Marcus paused. "It should work," Sarah sighed. "Scientists always say that right before something explodes." Daniel laughed. "I like her." Sarah looked at him. "You won't after the mission." Ryan stepped forward. "Enough!" Everyone became serious. The tower stood 2 miles ahead. Its black surface rose above the trees. Blue light moved beneath its exterior. Ryan looked at Marcus. "You stay behind us." Marcus shook his head. "I need to reach the power core." Ryan frowned. "You're not a soldier." "No." "Then don't act like one." Marcus looked toward the tower. "I don't need to." At midnight, the team moved. They crossed the forest without lights. No radios, no unnecessary movement. The first alien patrol appeared. 3 soldiers crossed the road ahead. Ryan raised his hand. Everyone stopped. Marcus activated the device. The air seemed to vibrate. The aliens stopped. Their armor flickered. Ryan shouted, "Now!" Gunfire erupted. The first alien fell. The second turned. Sarah fired. It collapsed. The third raised its weapon. Daniel shot it before it could fire. The device began flashing red. Marcus looked at the screen. 2 seconds. Ryan looked at him. "Next time, tell us that before we start." They reached the tower entrance. Marcus connected the device to the control panel. The massive door opened. Inside, blue light filled the corridors. The structure seemed alive. Energy flowed through transparent walls. The deeper they went, the louder the humming became. Daniel looked around. "I officially hate this place." Sarah nodded. "Same." Marcus stopped. Ahead was a circular chamber. At its center floated a huge sphere of blue energy. The power core. Marcus stared at it. "This is it." Ryan checked his weapon. "Then destroy it." Marcus shook his head. "Not yet." "Why?" Marcus stepped toward the core. "Because I don't think this is just powering the tower." Ryan frowned. "What else?" Marcus looked at the readings. His expression changed. "This is connected to every tower." The room suddenly went silent. Then the energy core changed color. Blue became white. Marcus looked toward the entrance. "They know we're here." Ryan raised his weapon. "How many?" Marcus checked the scanner. His face went pale. "Too many." The doors slammed shut. Heavy footsteps echoed through the corridors. Hundreds of alien soldiers were approaching. The resistance team was trapped, but Marcus stared at the glowing core. For the first time, he understood what the aliens had accidentally given them. Their entire occupation network was connected, and if he could control this tower, he might be able to turn the alien system against itself. The doors slammed shut behind them. For a moment, nobody moved. Then the first impact hit the other side. The metal doors bent inward. Ryan raised his rifle. "How many?" Marcus stared at the scanner. "More than 100. Daniel looked at the narrow chamber. "That's not a number I wanted to hear." Sarah stepped beside him. "Then stop listening." Another impact shook the room. Marcus turned toward the glowing energy core. "If we destroy this, the tower goes down." Ryan nodded. "That's the plan?" "No," Marcus looked at him. "If we destroy it the wrong way, the energy will spread through the network." Ryan frowned. "What does that mean?" "It could strengthen every other tower." Daniel stared at the core. "So we can't destroy it?" "Not directly." "Then what can we do?" Marcus connected his scanner to the control panel. "We change where the energy goes." Ryan understood. "You want to control it. I want to redirect it." Sarah looked toward the doors. "You have how long?" Marcus checked the scanner. "Maybe 3 minutes." The doors shook again. A crack appeared across the center. Ryan turned toward the team. "Everyone take positions." The resistance fighters spread around the chamber. Marcus worked. His fingers moved rapidly across the control panel. The alien system wasn't built like human technology. There were no buttons, no obvious switches. The controls responded to frequency patterns. Marcus entered one sequence, nothing. He tried another. The core pulsed. A warning appeared. "Access denied," Marcus swore. Ryan fired at the doors. The metal began collapsing. "Marcus!" "I know!" He tried another frequency. The warning disappeared. The entire chamber changed. Blue light turned white. Marcus froze. "What did you do?" Sarah asked. "I don't know." "That isn't comforting." The doors exploded inward. Alien soldiers rushed into the chamber. Ryan shouted, "Fire!" The room erupted. Blue energy crossed the air. Human bullets struck alien armor. Several creatures fell. Others continued forward. Sarah fired again and again. Daniel threw a grenade. The explosion pushed the aliens backward. Marcus stayed at the control panel. He was no longer watching the battle. He was watching the numbers. The alien network was responding. Every tower across North America was connected, and Marcus had just gained access to the system. Then he saw something strange. One signal was different. It wasn't connected to the towers. It was coming from somewhere above Earth. Marcus zoomed in. A massive energy signature appeared in orbit. He stared at it. "That's not a ship." Ryan heard him. "What?" Marcus pointed at the screen. "The towers aren't receiving power." Ryan looked confused. "They're sending it." "Where?" Marcus swallowed. "Up there." Sarah looked toward the ceiling. "You mean the ships?" Marcus shook his head. "No." He zoomed in again. The signal was enormous, much larger than any alien ship. Something was hidden in orbit, something that had been there since the invasion began. Ryan looked at Marcus. "What is it?" Marcus didn't answer. The alien soldiers began pushing forward. The resistance line started collapsing. Ryan shouted, "Marcus, whatever you're doing, do it now." Marcus looked at the core, then at the orbital signal. He made a decision. "Hold them." Ryan stared at him. "For how long?" 2 minutes. Ryan laughed bitterly. You've got one." Marcus turned back to the controls. Ryan looked at the others. "You heard him." The soldiers tightened their formation. Sarah moved beside Ryan. 2 minutes? Ryan nodded. "Apparently." Daniel checked his ammunition. "I'm starting to miss the old days." Sarah looked at him. "Which old days?" "Yesterday." She laughed despite herself. Then the aliens attacked. The chamber became a battlefield. Ryan fired until his rifle overheated. Sarah dropped 2 alien soldiers before they reached the center. Daniel threw another grenade. The explosion knocked several creatures backward, but more kept coming. Marcus continued working. The alien interface was resisting him. Every command required a different frequency. Every mistake triggered a surge of energy. He tried another sequence. The core dimmed, then brightened. A map appeared. Marcus stared. The towers across the continent were lighting up one after another. Chicago, Denver, New York, Dallas, Los Angeles, Seattle, Washington, hundreds of locations. Then Marcus noticed something else. The network extended beyond North America. It crossed oceans, Europe, Asia, Africa, South America. The entire planet was connected. Marcus whispered. "They're not occupying the cities." Ryan fired again. "What? They're using them. For what?" Marcus looked at the orbital signal. "I think Earth is the power source." A massive explosion shook the chamber. Ryan was thrown against the wall. An alien soldier entered the center. Sarah shot it twice. It didn't fall. The creature raised its weapon. Marcus grabbed the disruption device. He activated it. The alien armor flickered. Sarah fired. The creature collapsed. Marcus looked at the device. The battery was nearly empty. 1 use left. He returned to the console. The orbital signal grew stronger. He finally understood. The towers weren't designed to control Earth. They were designed to harvest it. Energy was being pulled from the planet and sent into orbit. But why? Marcus opened the transmission data. A second layer appeared beneath the first. It wasn't energy. It was information. The towers were scanning the planet. Every city, every military base, every communication network, every satellite, every human device. They were mapping Earth. Marcus stared at the data. Then a message appeared. Planetary acquisition. 7%. Marcus's blood went cold. This wasn't an invasion. It was a process. And the aliens were only 7% finished. Marcus. Ryan's voice pulled him back. The chamber was nearly lost. 4 resistance fighters were down. Daniel was bleeding from his shoulder. Sarah's rifle was empty. Ryan stood alone between the aliens and the control room. Marcus looked at the timer. 30 seconds. He had 1 chance. He entered a final sequence. The core began shaking. Ryan looked over. "What did you do?" Marcus shouted. "Get out!" Ryan didn't ask again. "Everybody move!" The remaining fighters ran toward the exit. Marcus stayed behind. The energy core began spinning faster. White light filled the chamber. The alien soldiers stopped. For the first time, they seemed afraid. Marcus pressed the final command. The tower screamed. A wave of energy exploded outward. Every alien soldier in the chamber froze. Their armor went dark. One by one, they collapsed. Then the tower itself went silent. Marcus stared at the screen. The Chicago tower had disconnected from the network. But something unexpected had happened. The other towers had also lost power for several seconds. Marcus smiled. The weakness wasn't the tower. It was the connection. He grabbed the equipment case and ran. Outside, the alien patrols were collapsing. Across the city, thousands of machines suddenly stopped. Streetlights came back on. Some buildings regained electricity. For the first time in days, people looked up and saw something they thought they had forgotten. A normal night sky. The resistance had won its first battle. But the victory lasted less than a minute. High above Earth, something enormous moved. The hidden orbital structure had detected the disruption. A signal traveled through space. Inside the structure, a chamber opened. A figure stood in the darkness. It was larger than the soldiers on Earth. Its armor was silver instead of black. Its face was uncovered. 2 pale eyes opened. A voice echoed through the chamber. "Human interference confirmed," another voice answered. "Primary engineer identified." The figure looked at the planet below. Marcus Hale. A map of Earth appeared. One location began glowing. Chicago. The figure studied it. Then another location appeared. Denver, then Washington, then dozens of others. Resistance cells, military survivors, underground shelters, human settlements. The alien commander watched them appear one by one. "They are organizing." "Yes, then eliminate the organizer." A pause, and the human resistance. The commander looked at Earth. "Erase it." Marcus and the surviving team escaped the tower before sunrise. They returned to the subway station exhausted. Daniel needed medical attention. 2 fighters never came back. Nobody celebrated. They were too tired. Marcus walked directly to Carter's command room. The general was waiting. "You did it," Marcus nodded. "For a few minutes." Carter looked at the data. "How many towers went offline?" 27. Carter stared. 27. Marcus shook his head. "Temporarily. But that's still 27. Marcus pointed toward the orbital readings. "We have a bigger problem." Carter looked at the screen. "What is that?" "Something above Earth." Carter's expression changed. "How big?" Marcus brought up the satellite image. The room went silent. The object was enormous. It was nearly invisible against the darkness of space, but its energy signature surrounded the planet. Carter stared. That wasn't there yesterday. It was. What is it? I don't know. Marcus zoomed in. The structure appeared to be connected to the alien ships, but the ships were only a small part of it. Carter looked at him. Can we destroy it? Marcus shook his head. Not with anything we have. Then what do we do? Marcus looked at the map. We stop them from finishing whatever they're doing. How? Marcus stared at the number on the screen. Planetary acquisition, 7.3%. We take back the towers. Carter nodded. All of them. Marcus looked at him. All of them. Carter took a breath. Then we need an army. Marcus looked toward the subway entrance. We already have one. Carter followed his gaze. Hundreds of exhausted civilians were moving through the station. Some carried rifles. Others carried medical supplies. Some were repairing generators. Some were feeding children. They weren't soldiers, not yet, but they were still standing. Marcus looked at them. They just need something worth fighting for. Above them, the alien ships remained silent, waiting, watching, and somewhere in orbit the enemy had finally decided that humanity was no longer worth studying. It was time to destroy it. By sunrise, the subway station no longer felt like a hiding place. It felt like a military base. People moved through the tunnels carrying weapons, medical supplies, food, and equipment. Mechanics worked beside broken generators. Former soldiers trained civilians in small groups. Doctors treated wounded fighters on tables that had once been used for maintenance. Nobody knew how long the station would survive. But for the first time since the invasion began, people were no longer waiting to die. They were preparing to fight. General Carter stood over a large map spread across a table. Red markers covered the continent. Each one represented an alien tower. Marcus stood beside him, studying the connections between them. We can't attack all of them, Carter said. No. Then which ones? Marcus pointed toward 3 locations. These, Carter frowned. Why? They're junctions. Meaning, if we shut these down, the network will split into separate sections. Carter looked at the map. And then, the aliens won't be able to move energy freely between regions. Carter nodded slowly. That could slow them down. Marcus shook his head. It could do more than that. What? Marcus looked at the orbital readings. It might interrupt whatever they're building in space. Carter became serious. Then those 3 towers are our priority. A young officer entered the room. General, we've got a problem. Carter turned. What? We received a transmission from Denver. Marcus immediately looked up. Who sent it? We don't know. The officer placed a radio on the table. Static filled the room. Then a weak voice came through. Any resistance group, respond. Carter picked up the microphone. This is General Carter. Identify yourself, the voice returned. This is Lieutenant James Miller. We've got civilians trapped inside the Western District. Carter looked at Marcus. How many? Maybe 400. Can you evacuate them? No. Why? The aliens have sealed the roads. Carter looked at the map. How long have they been trapped? 3 days. Marcus stepped closer. What about the tower? Miller hesitated. It's less than 2 miles away. Marcus looked at Carter. Carter understood immediately. If we hit the tower, the evacuation route might open. Marcus nodded. We need that tower. Carter looked around the room. Then Denver is our next target. The team left Chicago before midnight. This time they weren't 12 fighters. They were 50 soldiers, engineers, medics, drivers, even civilians who had volunteered to help. Ryan Cole led the group. Sarah Mitchell rode beside him. Marcus sat in the back of the lead vehicle, surrounded by equipment. Daniel checked the weapons. You know, he said, I preferred it when our missions involved less dying. Sarah looked at him. Then you chose the wrong apocalypse. Marcus smiled faintly. For a few seconds, nobody spoke. Then the radio crackled. Ryan picked it up. Convoy, hold. The vehicle stopped. Marcus looked outside. Nothing moved. The road was empty. Too empty. Ryan stepped out. Stay alert. A distant sound came from the trees, metal scraping against metal. Sarah raised her rifle. Contact! Alien drones emerged from the darkness. They were smaller than the soldiers, but much faster. The resistance opened fire. Blue light flashed between the trees. Several drones exploded. Others moved through the gunfire. One reached the convoy. Sarah fired. Nothing. The drone raised a weapon. Marcus activated a disruption device. The machine froze. Sarah fired again. It dropped. Marcus stared at the device. I'm going to need more of these. Ryan looked at him. You said that 3 times today. Because nobody listens. Daniel laughed. Welcome to the military. The convoy continued, but the attack had confirmed something. The aliens knew they were coming. They weren't surprised anymore. They were waiting. By dawn, the resistance reached Denver. The city looked nothing like it had before the invasion. Buildings were damaged, roads were blocked, alien towers stood between neighborhoods. Smoke covered the skyline. Thousands of people were hiding underground. Ryan looked through binoculars. There. The tower stood in the center of the Western District. It was surrounded by alien soldiers. Marcus studied the structure. We don't attack the tower directly. Ryan looked at him. Why? Because that's what they expect. Marcus pointed toward a smaller facility beside it. That controls the outer shield. Daniel smiled. So we hit the small building. Marcus nodded. Exactly. Ryan turned toward the team. Phase 1 begins in 10 minutes. The resistance split into 3 groups. Ryan led the main assault. Sarah commanded the sniper team. Marcus and Daniel were responsible for the control facility. They moved through underground tunnels until they reached a maintenance entrance. Marcus opened the door. Inside was darkness. They entered. The facility was strangely quiet, Daniel whispered. I don't like this. Marcus looked around. Neither do I. They moved deeper. Then the door behind them closed. Daniel turned. Marcus, I see it. The walls began glowing. Blue lines appeared across the floor. Marcus checked his scanner. They're scanning us. Daniel raised his weapon. Can they track us? They already have. A voice came through the speakers. Not human. Marcus, hail! Daniel froze. Marcus stared at the ceiling. The voice continued. You have interfered with planetary acquisition. Marcus looked at Daniel. Keep moving. You will surrender. Marcus ignored the voice. You will surrender, Daniel whispered. I think it really wants an answer. Marcus looked at him. Tell it no. Daniel smiled. No. The lights turned red. Alien soldiers appeared at the end of the corridor. Marcus activated the device. The soldiers froze. Daniel opened fire. They ran. The control room was directly ahead. Marcus connected his equipment to the alien system. The screen displayed the same message. Planetary acquisition, 8.1%. Marcus's eyes widened. It increased. Daniel looked confused. What? Since Chicago. So? It means the tower is collecting energy faster. Marcus worked faster. He found the network connection. The Denver tower was communicating with the orbital structure. Marcus opened the channel. A massive stream of data appeared. Then he saw something that made his blood run cold. Images, not of Earth, of other planets, thousands of them. Dead worlds, broken cities, empty landscapes. Marcus stared. Daniel stepped closer. What are those? Marcus whispered. Places they've already taken. Daniel looked at the screen. How many? Marcus scrolled. The list continued and continued and continued. Daniel's face changed. This isn't their first planet. No. Then how many have they destroyed? Marcus stopped scrolling. I don't know. The system suddenly changed. A new message appeared. Earth designated for transfer. Marcus frowned. Transfer? Before he could understand it, the entire facility shook. Ryan's voice came through the radio. Marcus, we're under heavy attack. Marcus looked at the tower readings. Ryan, get everyone away from the tower. Why? Because we're about to shut it down. How long? Marcus looked at the control system. 30 seconds. Make it 10. Marcus smiled. I'll try. He entered the final sequence. The tower began losing power. Across Denver, alien machines stopped, streetlights flickered, the black towers went dark. For the first time, the city became quiet. Then the tower exploded. A wave of energy swept across the district. Alien soldiers collapsed. Vehicles stopped. The resistance watched from the streets. For several seconds, nobody moved. Then someone shouted, "We did it!" Another voice answered. Cheers spread through the city. People came out of hiding. Some cried, some hugged strangers. For one brief moment, Denver belonged to humanity again. But Marcus wasn't celebrating. He was staring at the sky. The orbital structure had responded. A massive beam of light appeared above the clouds. Ryan walked toward him. "What is that?" Marcus shook his head. "I don't know." The beam struck the center of the city. The ground shook. Every alien tower in North America suddenly turned back on. Ryan stared. "You said we destroyed it." "We destroyed the tower." "Then what happened?" Marcus looked at his scanner. His face went pale. "They just bypassed the entire network." Carter's voice came through the radio. "Marcus, report." Marcus looked at the sky. "We made a mistake." "What kind?" Marcus watched the beam disappear. "We showed them exactly how we're fighting back." There was silence. Then Carter asked the question nobody wanted answered. "What do they do now?" Marcus looked toward the horizon. Hundreds of alien ships were moving, not toward cities, not toward military bases. They were heading toward Denver. Marcus tightened his grip on the device. "They're coming for us, and this time they weren't coming to occupy the city. They were coming to erase the resistance." The first alien ships appeared above Denver before anyone could react. They came through the clouds without sound. One after another, hundreds of black vessels surrounded the city. Ryan looked up from the street. "They're not leaving us a way out." Marcus checked his scanner. "They don't want one." A deep vibration moved through the ground. The alien ships began descending. Carter's voice came through the radio. "All resistance units fall back to the southern tunnels. Repeat, fall back immediately." Ryan looked at Marcus. "You heard him." Marcus didn't move. He was staring at the remains of the tower. Something was wrong. The tower had been destroyed, but the energy inside the ground was still active. Marcus crouched and placed his scanner against the pavement. His expression changed. "What?" Ryan stepped closer. "The tower wasn't the source." "Then what was?" Marcus looked beneath them. "Earth." A massive explosion shook the city. Buildings collapsed in the distance. Alien soldiers poured into the streets. The resistance opened fire. Ryan shouted, "Move!" Everyone ran toward the underground entrance. Sarah covered them from a rooftop. She fired until the barrel of her rifle turned red. Then an alien drone appeared behind her. She heard it at the last second. Sarah turned. The drone fired. She jumped from the roof. The building beneath her exploded. She disappeared into the smoke. Ryan saw it happen. "Sarah!" No answer. Daniel grabbed his arm. "Ryan, we have to go." Ryan hesitated. Then another explosion hit the street. He followed the others underground. Marcus and Carter reached the command station. The room was crowded with wounded soldiers. People were shouting. Radios were failing. The entire city was losing power. Carter slammed his hand against the table. "How do we stop them?" Marcus stared at the map. "We don't." Carter looked at him. "What?" "We can't defend Denver." Carter's face hardened. "Then what are you suggesting?" "We evacuate." "How many people?" Marcus checked the civilian count. "Thousands. We don't have the vehicles." "Then we use the tunnels." Carter shook his head. "The aliens control the southern routes." Marcus pointed toward the old subway system. "Not this one." Carter looked at the map. "That tunnel hasn't been used in decades." "Exactly." Marcus began marking a route. "It connects to the mountains." Carter studied it. "If we can get the civilians through here, they'll survive. And the soldiers." Marcus looked toward the surface. "We stay." Carter understood. "No." Marcus looked at him. "We need to buy them time." Carter shook his head. "We're not sacrificing the entire resistance for one city." Marcus answered quietly, "We're not." He pointed toward the map. "Denver isn't the target." Carter stared. "Then what is?" Marcus looked at the sky. The tower was a test. For what? Marcus opened the alien data. "The aliens wanted us to destroy it," Carter frowned. "Why?" "To see how we respond." Marcus brought up the orbital structure. "They're learning." Carter stared at the screen. "So every attack we've made has given them information." The room went silent. Carter finally asked, "Then what do we do?" Marcus closed the screen. "We stop fighting the way they expect." Above Denver, the alien fleet began its attack. Blue energy struck buildings. Bridges collapsed. Military vehicles disappeared beneath waves of heat. The city shook. But beneath the streets, thousands of civilians were moving through the old tunnels. Doctors helped injured people. Parents carried children. Soldiers guided the crowd. There was fear everywhere, but nobody stopped. Ryan walked near the rear of the evacuation group. He kept looking back. Marcus was still above them. Carter was still above them. Hundreds of fighters were still fighting. Then the lights went out. The tunnel became completely dark. People began panicking. A child started crying. Ryan raised his flashlight. "Stay calm." The emergency lights returned, red, then white, then red again. A strange sound echoed through the tunnel. Marcus's voice came over the radio. "Ryan." Ryan grabbed the radio. "Marcus, where are you?" "Still in the city." "What's happening?" "They've surrounded the entire district." Ryan stopped. "Can you get out?" A pause. "No." Ryan's face tightened. "Then we're coming back." "No." "Marcus, you need to get those people out." Ryan clenched his fist. "I'm not leaving you." Marcus's voice became calm. "You have to." Another explosion echoed through the radio. Then Marcus spoke again. "Ryan, listen carefully." Ryan waited. "If I don't make it, destroy the orbital network." "How?" "You'll know when the time comes." The transmission ended. Ryan stood silently. Daniel approached him. What did he say? Ryan looked toward the darkness behind them. "He said we're on our own." Above the city, Marcus stood inside the ruined command facility. Only a few soldiers remained. Carter was beside him. "How long?" Marcus checked the readings. 5 minutes. "Until what?" Marcus looked at the orbital signal. "Until they activate the next phase." Carter raised his weapon. "And what happens then?" Marcus looked at him. "I don't know." Carter laughed. "That's comforting." Marcus smiled. "I'm starting to get used to it." The building shook. The remaining soldiers prepared themselves. Outside, alien troops surrounded the facility. A large armored figure walked through the smoke. Marcus recognized it. The same creature from the mountain facility. The commander. It stopped outside. Its helmet opened. Pale eyes looked directly at Marcus. The creature spoke. "You have caused unnecessary resistance." Marcus stared. "You speak English. We understand every language on this planet." Carter raised his weapon. The alien looked at him. "You are the military commander." Carter said nothing. The alien turned back to Marcus. "You believe your resistance can save your species?" Marcus smiled. "No." The alien seemed confused. Marcus continued. "We're buying time." "For what?" Marcus looked toward the sky. The alien followed his gaze. "You don't know what is coming." Marcus smiled. "Neither do you." For the first time, the alien commander looked uncertain. Marcus pressed a hidden switch. Carter realized what he had done. "Marcus." The entire building exploded. The blast was visible from miles away. Ryan saw it from the tunnel entrance. A wall of fire rose above Denver. He stopped. Everyone behind him stopped too. Nobody spoke. The radio remained silent. Then a weak signal appeared. Marcus's voice. "Ryan." Ryan grabbed the radio. "Marcus." Static. Then the voice returned. "It's working." "What is?" "The signal." Ryan looked confused. "What signal?" Marcus whispered. "The one we needed them to receive." The transmission died. Ryan stared at the radio. Daniel stepped beside him. "What did he mean?" Ryan didn't answer. Above them, the alien ship suddenly stopped moving. Every vessel turned toward the same direction, away from Denver. Ryan looked up. The ships were leaving, not retreating, leaving, as if they had just received an order from somewhere far beyond Earth. Daniel stared at the sky. Why are they running? Ryan shook his head. I don't think they're running. What then? Ryan looked at the burning city. I think something just scared them. Far above the planet, the enormous orbital structure began to change. Panels opened across its surface. Energy gathered around it. A signal traveled into deep space. It reached something beyond the solar system. Then another signal answered. Marcus's plan had worked. But nobody on Earth understood what he had just awakened. And somewhere beyond the darkness of space, something was now coming toward Earth. Something the aliens feared. Something that might be even more dangerous than the invasion itself. The sky above Denver remained empty. For the first time since the invasion began, there were no alien ships. No blue beams, no patrols, only smoke rising from the ruins. Ryan stood at the tunnel entrance staring upward. What did Marcus do? Nobody answered. Daniel lowered his radio. We lost contact with him. Ryan looked toward the burning city. We're going back. Daniel grabbed his arm. He told us not to. He also told us to destroy the orbital network. And do you know how? Ryan said nothing. Then a weak signal came through the radio. Static. A few broken sounds. Then a voice. Ryan? Everyone froze. It was Marcus. Ryan grabbed the radio. Marcus, where are you? I don't have much time. Are you alive? For now. Ryan closed his eyes in relief. What happened? I sent the signal. What signal? The one the aliens were afraid of. Ryan looked at Daniel. What did you send? Marcus took a breath. A location. To who? Marcus hesitated. I don't know. The transmission suddenly became distorted. Then Marcus spoke again. But whatever received it is coming. The signal disappeared. Ryan stared at the radio. Daniel looked at him. You heard him? Ryan nodded. What? Something is coming. Hundreds of miles away, General Carter received the same transmission. He was standing inside a temporary command center beneath the mountains. The room went silent after Marcus's message ended. An officer looked at the radar. General, Carter turned. What? We're detecting movement. Alien? The officer shook his head. No. Then what? I don't know. A new object appeared on the screen. Then another. Then dozens. They were coming from deep space. Carter stared. How long? The officer checked the data. 3 hours? Until they reach Earth? Yes. Carter looked at the map. Tell every resistance group to prepare. For what? Carter looked toward the ceiling. I don't know. In orbit, the alien fleet had stopped. The enormous structure remained silent. Then a signal reached it. The alien commander opened his eyes. Has it arrived? A technician checked the readings. Not yet. How long? Less than 2 hours. The commander looked toward Earth. Begin evacuation. The technician froze. Evacuation? Yes. What about the human population? The commander didn't answer. The technician understood. You're abandoning the planet. We were never here to defend it. Then why leave? The commander looked at the incoming signal. Because this world is no longer safe. Back underground, Ryan gathered the resistance leaders. We have 3 hours. Sarah stood across the table. She was bruised and exhausted, but alive. Ryan stared at her. You survived, Sarah smiled. Barely, Daniel laughed. I knew you would. Sarah looked at him. You were worried. No. You're a terrible liar, Ryan interrupted. We have a bigger problem. He explained everything. The unknown objects, the alien evacuation, Marcus's message. The room became silent. Sarah pointed toward the map. If the aliens are leaving, why don't we let them? Ryan shook his head. Because Marcus sent that signal for a reason. Daniel looked at the orbital readings. What if whatever is coming isn't here to help us? Ryan looked at him. Then we find out before it arrives. 3 hours later, the sky changed. The stars disappeared again. But this time there were no alien ships. Something else was approaching. The clouds moved in a perfect circle. The atmosphere began glowing. Then a massive object appeared above the planet. It was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. It wasn't a ship. It looked like a sphere surrounded by rings of white light. It stopped above the Pacific Ocean. Every electronic device on Earth turned on. Every screen displayed the same symbol. Then a voice spoke. Not human, not alien, something deeper, something ancient. We have received your signal. Ryan stared at the screen. The voice continued. You requested assistance, Ryan whispered. Marcus, the voice continued. Your world has been marked for termination. The room froze. Daniel looked at Ryan. That's not assistance. Ryan shook his head. No, the voice spoke again. The invaders have violated the boundary. A pause. They will be removed. Ryan stared at the sky. And us? The voice didn't answer. That silence was worse than any threat. Then every alien ship began fleeing Earth. Thousands of vessels accelerated into space. The enormous orbital structure followed. For the first time, humanity watched the invaders run. But the unknown sphere above the Pacific remained. A beam of white light descended toward the ocean. The sea split apart. A massive structure rose from beneath the water. Ryan stared at the screen. What is that? Sarah stepped closer. It looks like a tower. Ryan shook his head. No, he remembered Marcus's words. The aliens had been afraid of something coming from beyond Earth, and now that something had arrived, the screen changed. A final message appeared. The judgment has begun. Ryan looked toward the others. We need to find Marcus, Daniel nodded. Why? Ryan stared at the message. Because he called them. And? Ryan looked toward the sky. He may be the only person who can stop them. The message remained on every screen. The judgment has begun. For several seconds, nobody in the Resistance Command Center moved. Then the power went out. Emergency lights came on. Ryan looked at Sarah. Where's Marcus? Sarah shook her head. We don't know. Ryan turned toward Daniel. You said you tracked his signal. I did. And? Daniel pointed toward a monitor. It disappeared beneath Denver. Ryan stared at the map. That's where the explosion happened. Exactly. Ryan grabbed his rifle. Then we go back. Sarah stopped him. The alien fleet just left Earth. Ryan looked at her. I know. And something powerful enough to scare them is now sitting over the Pacific. I know that too. Sarah stepped closer. Then maybe going back to Denver isn't the smartest idea. Ryan looked at the screen. Marcus called them. The room became silent. He knew something we didn't, Ryan continued. If he's alive, he may know how to stop whatever just arrived. Daniel picked up his equipment. Then we'd better find him. The journey back to Denver was unlike anything they had experienced before. There were no alien patrols, no checkpoints, no drones. The roads were empty, too empty. The closer they got to the city, the darker the sky became. A strange white glow covered the horizon. Sarah looked through the vehicle window. That's not sunlight. Ryan shook his head. No. When they reached the city, they stopped. Denver was almost completely destroyed. Buildings burned. Streets were covered with debris. The remains of alien towers stood like broken skeletons. But beneath the ruins, something was still moving. Ryan checked the scanner. There's a signal. Daniel leaned closer. Where? Underground. They followed it into the remains of the old command facility. The entrance had collapsed. They dug through the debris until they found a narrow passage. Ryan went first. Sarah followed. Daniel came behind them. The tunnel descended deep beneath the city. The farther they went, the warmer the air became. Then they heard a sound, a faint electronic hum. Ryan raised his weapon. They entered a large underground chamber. Marcus was there. He was sitting against a wall. His clothes were burned. Blood covered one side of his face. But he was alive. Ryan ran toward him. Marcus! Marcus opened his eyes. You shouldn't have come back. Ryan helped him stand. We thought you were dead. I almost was. Sarah looked around. What happened here? Marcus stared toward the center of the chamber. You saw the message, Ryan nodded. The judgment. Marcus shook his head. That isn't what it means. Daniel frowned. Then what does it mean? Marcus looked at them. The thing that arrived isn't here to help us. Ryan's expression hardened. We figured that out. Marcus walked toward a damaged computer. It isn't an army. What is it? Marcus activated the remaining power. A holographic image appeared. The sphere above the Pacific appeared on the screen. Marcus enlarged it. It isn't a ship. Sarah looked closer. Then what? A judge. Daniel laughed nervously. That's not a word I wanted to hear, Marcus continued. The aliens have been invading planets for centuries. Ryan stared at him. We know. No, Marcus shook his head. You don't understand. He opened another file. Thousands of worlds appeared. Every civilization the aliens conquer becomes part of their network. Ryan looked at the images. And the thing above Earth? Marcus pointed at the sphere. It monitors civilizations that break certain rules. What rules? Marcus looked toward the screen. Expansion beyond their allowed territory. Genetic manipulation. Planetary extraction. Destruction of protected worlds. Sarah understood. They violated those rules. Yes. And now this thing has come to punish them. Marcus shook his head. Not just them. Ryan stared at him. Us too, Marcus nodded. Because Earth has been connected to their network. The room went silent. Daniel asked quietly, so we're guilty because they used our planet? Marcus looked at him. That's what it believes. A massive shock wave moved across the planet. The chamber shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Marcus checked the readings. It has started. Ryan looked at him. What? The judgment. The holographic map changed. White circles appeared over major cities, one after another. New York, London, Tokyo, Cairo, Sydney, Mexico City, Washington. The unknown structure was targeting population centers. Sarah stared. It's going to destroy them. Marcus shook his head. Not yet. Then what is it doing? Scanning. For what? Marcus looked at the data. For the alien network. He opened another display. The planetary acquisition system appeared. It was still active, even though the alien fleet had left. Marcus's eyes widened. They left something behind. Ryan stepped closer. What? Marcus pointed to the center of the map. The orbital network. Sarah frowned. But the ships are gone. The ships aren't necessary anymore, Marcus explained. The network is still collecting energy. From where? Marcus looked at the ground. Everywhere. The alien towers had connected underground energy lines across the planet. Even destroyed towers were still transmitting. The alien invasion had left Earth plugged into a massive machine, and the unknown judge was detecting it. Ryan asked, how do we shut it down? Marcus looked at him. We can't, Ryan stared. You built the device. Yes. Then build another. Marcus shook his head. This is different. How? The network is now connected to the thing in orbit. Ryan understood. If we touch it, it may think we're attacking it. Daniel looked at the ceiling. And then? Marcus didn't answer. Sarah whispered. Then it judges us. They returned to the Resistance Command Center. Carter was waiting. When he saw Marcus, he stared for several seconds. You're alive? Marcus nodded. Barely. Carter stepped toward him. Tell me what we're dealing with. Marcus connected his equipment to the command system. The entire room watched the holographic map. We have two enemies. Carter frowned. The aliens and the thing above the Pacific. Marcus shook his head. The aliens are leaving, so they're no longer the problem? Marcus looked at the map. They're still part of it. He explained the network. The alien occupation had connected Earth to their technology. Now the unknown structure was using that connection to judge the planet. Carter asked, can we disconnect Earth? Marcus thought for a moment. Yes. Everyone looked at him. How? Marcus pointed toward the old alien towers. We destroyed the network from the inside. Carter shook his head. We already destroyed several towers. Not enough. How many? Marcus looked at the map. All of them, Carter stared. How? Marcus looked toward the surviving engineers. We built a new device, Sarah frowned. Another weapon? No. Marcus looked at the alien network. A signal. What kind? One that tells the system Earth is no longer connected. Carter understood. If it works, the judge won't see us as part of the alien network. Marcus nodded. And the aliens lose their access to Earth. Ryan looked at him. What happens if it fails? Marcus stared at the glowing sphere above the Pacific. Then Earth becomes the next target. The Resistance began preparing immediately. Every remaining engineering team was assigned a tower. Every surviving pilot was ordered to prepare. Every military unit was given one objective. Reach the nearest alien structure. Plant the new device. Activate it simultaneously. There were hundreds of towers. They had less than an hour. Ryan looked at Marcus. You really think we can do this? Marcus smiled. No, Ryan frowned. Marcus picked up the device. But we're going to try anyway. Outside, the sky began glowing white. The unknown structure had finished scanning Earth. A message appeared on every screen. Planetary judgment initiated. The resistance fighters looked upward. Then Marcus received another message. Not from the aliens, not from the judge. From somewhere deep inside the planetary network. 3 words appeared. We remember you. Marcus stared at the screen. He knew exactly who had sent it. The alien commander. They hadn't gone far. They were waiting. And when the judgment began, they intended to return. The final battle for Earth had just begun. Part 8. The final network. The countdown had begun. Across the world, resistance teams moved toward the remaining alien towers. Nobody knew whether the plan would work. Nobody knew whether the unknown force above the Pacific would give them another chance. They only knew that if they failed, Earth would be judged. Ryan stood inside a transport aircraft with Marcus beside him. How many towers? Marcus checked the device. 214. Ryan stared at him. And how many teams? 40. Ryan gave him a look. That doesn't add up. It doesn't have to. Marcus pointed toward the map. The towers are connected. We don't need to shut them down individually. Ryan understood. We trigger one signal. Exactly. And the network carries it everywhere. Marcus nodded. But the signal has to begin from the central tower. Ryan looked at the map. Where is that? Marcus pointed toward the Pacific. Ryan stared. You're telling me the central tower is underwater? Yes, and the judge is sitting directly above it. Yes, Ryan shook his head. That sounds like a terrible plan. Marcus smiled. It is. The aircraft continued toward the ocean. Across the world, resistance teams reached their targets. In London, soldiers entered an abandoned subway station. In Tokyo, civilians guided fighters through underground tunnels. In New York, a small group moved through the ruins of a military base. In Cairo, resistance fighters crossed the desert under cover of darkness. Everywhere, humanity prepared for the same moment. Marcus watched the signals appear on his screen. One team ready, another signal appeared. 2, then another. Mehdi, within minutes, the number reached 40. Ryan looked at him. Everyone's in position, Marcus nodded. Now we need the central tower. Their aircraft descended toward the Pacific. The ocean below was glowing. A massive circle of white light covered the water. At its center, something enormous rose from the depths. The central tower. It was far larger than the structures on land. Its surface disappeared beneath the waves. White energy traveled through it and into the sky. Above it hovered the unknown sphere. The judge. Ryan looked at Marcus. How do we get inside? Marcus held up a small device. Do we go underwater? Ryan stared. You're joking. No. Daniel checked his equipment. Of course we're going underwater. Sarah looked at him. You sound disappointed. I was hoping for something easier. The aircraft opened its rear doors. Cold air rushed inside. Below them, the ocean stretched into darkness. Marcus secured his equipment. Ryan looked at the team. Once we're inside, we have 15 minutes. Sarah nodded. And if we don't make it out? Ryan smiled. Then we make sure everyone else does. They jumped. The ocean swallowed them. Marcus descended through the darkness with the others. Their suits were equipped with lights, but the deeper they went, the less useful they became. Then the tower appeared. It was enormous. Black walls extended into the depths. Blue energy moved through transparent sections. Marcus pointed toward an opening. They entered. Inside, the water disappeared. A field surrounded the structure. They stepped onto a metal platform. Marcus removed his helmet. Daniel looked around. I hate this place already. Sarah smiled. You say that about everywhere. A low vibration moved through the tower. Marcus checked his scanner. We're close. They followed the corridor. The walls changed as they moved. Human images began appearing. Cities, people, forests, oceans. Marcus stopped. The tower was scanning memories. Sarah looked at him. Why is it showing us this? Marcus stared. It's learning. Learning what? what Earth is, they continued. Then the corridor opened into a massive chamber. At its center floated a sphere of energy. Marcus looked at his device. This is the connection point. Ryan checked the timer. 10 minutes. Marcus began working. The alien system activated. A voice filled the chamber. "You have returned." Marcus froze. The alien commander appeared on a holographic projection. Ryan raised his weapon. "You." The commander looked at Marcus. "You were the source of the signal." Marcus stared back. "Yes." "You summoned the judge." "Yes." "You believe it will save your world?" Marcus shook his head. "No." The commander looked confused. "Then why?" "Because you were afraid of it." The alien was silent. Marcus continued. "You knew what would happen when it arrived." "Yes." "So you knew Earth could be saved." The commander looked toward the energy sphere. "Your planet cannot be saved." Marcus frowned. "Why?" "Because the judge doesn't distinguish between invader and victim." Ryan stepped forward. "Then why did you leave?" The commander looked at him. "Because we have seen judgment before," Sarah asked. "And?" The commander paused. "Nothing survives." The projection disappeared. The chamber became silent. Marcus looked at the device. "Keep working." Above the Pacific, the judge began charging. White energy surrounded the sphere. A massive beam formed beneath it. Every screen on Earth displayed the same message. "Final judgment. 10 minutes." Carter watched from the command center. He received a transmission from Marcus. "We're inside." Carter closed his eyes. "Can you stop it?" "We're trying." Carter looked at the clock. "Do it." Across the world, resistance teams activated their devices. One after another, alien towers began flickering. London, Tokyo, Cairo, New York, Denver, Chicago. The network started collapsing. But the central tower remained active. Marcus connected the final device. The system rejected it. He tried again, nothing. Daniel looked at him. "What happened?" "It won't accept the signal." Ryan looked at the timer. "Then force it." Marcus shook his head. "If I force it, the tower will explode." Sarah stared. "Would that stop the network?" Marcus looked at the energy core. "Yes." "Then do it." Marcus hesitated. He understood what that meant. Someone would have to stay behind. Ryan saw his expression. "No." Marcus looked at him. "It's the only way." Ryan shook his head. "We're not leaving you." Marcus smiled. "You already did once." Ryan didn't answer. Marcus placed his hand on the control panel. "I didn't build this to survive." He looked at them. "I built it to give everyone else a chance." The tower began shaking. The final countdown appeared. 5 minutes. Ryan grabbed Marcus's shoulder. "There's another way." Marcus shook his head. "No, there has to be." "Ryan," Marcus looked directly at him. "Get everyone out." Ryan stared at him. Marcus pressed the activation switch. The entire tower lit up. Every alien structure on Earth responded. The network had accepted the signal. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then the central tower released a massive wave of energy. It traveled across the planet. Every alien tower shut down. The orbital network went dark. The judge stopped charging. The countdown disappeared. Earth became silent. Marcus fell to the floor. Ryan caught him. "Marcus!" Marcus opened his eyes. He smiled. It worked. Above the Pacific, the white sphere slowly began to disappear. Then a final message appeared on every screen. "Earth is disconnected." The unknown judge vanished. The alien fleet disappeared into deep space. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity was alone again. But Marcus looked at the dead screen. "It's not over," Ryan frowned. "What do you mean?" Marcus looked toward the sky. "The aliens know we survived." Far away, beyond the edge of the solar system, a single alien ship changed direction. It wasn't fleeing anymore. It was waiting. And inside it, the alien commander watched a final transmission appear. "Earth survived." The commander stared at the message. Then another appeared. "Return protocol initiated." He closed his eyes. The war had not ended. It had only entered its next stage. For the first time in weeks, Earth was quiet. There were no alien towers glowing across the cities. No strange signals filled the radio. No black ships covered the sky. People slowly came out of hiding. They searched through the ruins. They repaired hospitals. They cleared roads. They buried the dead. For a brief moment, humanity believed the war was over. Marcus knew better. He stood inside the Resistance Command Center, staring at a dead monitor. Ryan walked in. "You've been looking at that screen for an hour." Marcus didn't turn around. "They're coming back." Ryan stopped. "How do you know?" Marcus pointed toward the satellite data. "Because the network wasn't destroyed. We disconnected it from Earth." Ryan frowned. And Marcus turned around. "We didn't disconnect it from them." A warning appeared on the monitor. "Unknown signal detected." Ryan stepped closer. "Is that them?" Marcus nodded. "How long?" "Not long. Days." Marcus shook his head. "Hours." Ryan looked toward the command room. "We need Carter." General Carter arrived minutes later. Marcus showed him the signal. The room became silent. Carter looked at the readings. "How many ships?" Marcus zoomed in. "One." Carter frowned. "One?" Marcus nodded. "One ship is heading directly toward Earth." Ryan looked confused. "If they wanted to destroy us, why send one?" Marcus stared at the signal. "Because it's not a warship. What is it?" Marcus didn't answer immediately. Then the ship appeared on the satellite feed. It was smaller than the vessels that had attacked Earth, but it was faster, much faster. Carter asked, "What are they bringing?" Marcus looked at the energy signature. "Something we haven't seen before." The ship entered Earth's atmosphere without resistance. Every military radar tracked it. Every surviving fighter was placed on alert. Missiles were armed, but Carter gave one order: "Don't fire." Ryan looked at him. "General, we don't know what it wants." Marcus nodded. "If we attack first, we may give them exactly what they're waiting for." The ship descended toward the center of the Pacific. It stopped above the water. Then a smaller craft separated from it. The craft traveled toward the coast. It landed on a deserted beach. 3 alien figures stepped outside. Ryan and a group of soldiers surrounded them, weapons pointed in every direction. Marcus stood behind Ryan. The aliens didn't move. Then one of them removed its helmet. It was the commander, the same creature Marcus had encountered before. Ryan raised his weapon. "You came back." The commander looked at Marcus. "We did." "Why?" The commander looked toward the sky. "Because your world survived the judgment." Marcus stepped forward. "And yours didn't?" The commander was silent. Marcus understood. "The judge attacked you." The alien nodded. "Our civilization has been mocked." Ryan looked confused. "You're saying the thing that came here is now hunting you?" "Yes." Marcus stared at him. "Then why come to us?" The commander looked directly at Marcus. "Because you are the only species that has survived its judgment." Nobody spoke. The commander continued. "We need your help." Ryan laughed. "You invaded our planet." The commander didn't react. "We know. You killed millions." "We know. You destroyed our cities." "We know." Ryan stepped closer. "Then why should we help you?" The commander looked at Marcus. "Because the judge is coming back." Marcus froze. "What?" The commander continued. "You stopped the judgment temporarily." Marcus looked at the sky. "How long?" The alien answered. 3 days. The room went silent. Carter stepped forward. "What happens then?" The commander looked toward the horizon. "It will not judge Earth again." Ryan frowned. "Then what?" "It will erase it." The commander was taken underground. The resistance wanted him locked away. Marcus wanted answers. For hours, the alien explained what the judge really was. It wasn't a machine. It wasn't an army. It was an ancient planetary defense system created by civilizations that had disappeared long before humanity existed. Its purpose was simple. If a civilization became powerful enough to threaten other worlds, the system would remove it. The aliens had spent centuries avoiding it. Then they found Earth. They believed humanity was primitive enough to be ignored. They were wrong. The moment they connected Earth to their network, the judge detected the violation. Marcus listened carefully. "How many worlds have you destroyed?" The commander looked away. "Too many. Give me a number." The alien was silent. Marcus repeated the question. "How many?" "Thousands." Ryan looked disgusted. And now you want us to save you? The commander nodded. Marcus asked, what happens if we don't? The alien looked at the floor. The judge will destroy every world connected to our network. Carter understood. Earth isn't the only target. No. Marcus stood up. How many worlds? The commander looked at him. Hundreds. Marcus stared. The war had suddenly become much larger than Earth. 3 days. That was all they had. Humanity and the alien survivors had one common enemy. But nobody trusted the alliance. Ryan especially hated the idea. You're seriously considering working with them? Marcus looked at him. I don't trust them. Good. But I believe them. Ryan frowned. Why? Because they're afraid. Ryan looked toward the containment room. You think fear makes them honest? No. Marcus paused. I think the judge does. The plan was simple. The aliens had an ancient navigation system capable of reaching the judge's central command. Marcus wanted access to it. If they could reach the source, they might be able to convince the system that Earth was no longer a threat. Carter looked at the plan. And if it doesn't listen? Marcus answered honestly. Then we're finished. Ryan sighed. You really know how to motivate people. Marcus smiled. I'm an engineer. The Human-Alien Alliance prepared for its final mission. For the first time, humans and aliens stood beside each other. It felt wrong. Nobody trusted the other side. Weapons remained loaded. Every conversation was monitored. But everyone understood the truth. If they failed, there would be no second chance. Marcus entered the alien ship with Ryan, Sarah, Daniel, Carter, and the alien commander. The engines activated. The ship lifted from the ground. Earth became smaller beneath them. Marcus looked through the window. Cities were still burning, but people were rebuilding. Lights were appearing in places that had been dark for weeks. He realized something. Earth had survived because people refused to stop. The ship accelerated. Stars stretched across the window. Then the alien commander spoke. We are approaching the boundary. Marcus looked at him. What boundary? The place where the judge begins. The stars disappeared. A massive structure appeared ahead. It was larger than anything Marcus had ever imagined. It surrounded an entire section of space. Ryan stared through the window. What the hell is that? Marcus whispered. The source. The judge had been waiting. A signal entered the ship. Every system shut down. Then a voice spoke. The human world has violated the boundary. Marcus stepped forward. We were attacked. Silence. Then the voice answered. The invaders were not authorized to enter. Marcus continued. Then Earth should not be punished. Another pause. Earth was connected to the network. Marcus looked at the commander, then back at the system. We didn't choose that. The judge responded. Choice is irrelevant. Marcus took a breath. Then you're no better than the invaders. For the first time, the system stopped responding. Everyone stared. Marcus continued. You judge civilizations because they become dangerous. He looked at the alien commander. But you never ask why they became dangerous. The commander remained silent. Marcus looked toward the enormous structure. If you destroy Earth, you prove nothing. The voice returned. Explain. Marcus smiled. Finally, it was listening. He opened Earth's historical records, wars, disasters, peace, scientific discoveries, human mistakes, human sacrifices, everything. Then he showed the system one final thing. Humanity rebuilding after the invasion. People helping strangers. Former enemies fighting together. Children planting trees among the ruins. Marcus spoke quietly. We are not perfect. The judge remained silent. But we're learning. The system began processing the data. Then a final message appeared. Judgment suspended. Nobody moved. Ryan looked at Marcus. Did we just win? Marcus stared at the screen. No. The judge sent another message. Final evaluation required. Marcus's face changed. The alien commander understood immediately. What does that mean? Marcus looked toward Earth. It means we have one last test, and this time humanity would have to prove that it deserved to survive. The judge remained silent. No alarms, no weapons, no countdown, only silence. Marcus stood before the main console, waiting for an answer. Ryan looked at him. What happens now? Marcus shook his head. We wait. The alien commander stepped forward. "You don't understand the system." Marcus looked at him. "Then explain it. The judge does not care about promises. Then what does it want?" The commander stared at the screen. "Proof. Proof of what?" "That your species can choose differently." Marcus frowned. "Choose differently from what?" The commander looked toward Earth. "From us." The words stayed in the room. Humanity had spent weeks fighting aliens. Now the survival of Earth depended on proving that humans were not destined to become another version of them. The judge activated a new sequence. Every surviving screen displayed the same message. Final evaluation active. Then images appeared: wars, cities destroyed by humans, weapons, dead soldiers. The history of human violence. Ryan looked away. Daniel whispered, "They're showing everything." Marcus nodded. "Nothing is hidden." Then the images changed. Hospitals, people rescuing strangers, scientists working together, soldiers lowering their weapons, families rebuilding destroyed homes. The judge was comparing both sides. Marcus understood. It wasn't asking whether humanity had done terrible things. It was asking whether humanity could change. Back on Earth, every surviving communication system suddenly activated. The message reached every city, every military base, every shelter, every person with a working radio. A voice spoke. "The future of your species depends on your choice." People looked toward their screens. The voice continued. "You may continue the cycle of conflict." A second message appeared. "Or you may end it." Nobody understood what they were supposed to do. Then Carter received a transmission from Marcus. "General," Carter answered immediately. "Marcus, we have one chance. What do you need?" "Everything." Carter frowned. "What does that mean?" Marcus explained the judge's test. Humanity had to demonstrate cooperation, not just between nations, between enemies. Carter understood. "You want every military force to stand down?" "Yes." "And the aliens?" Marcus looked at the commander. "They have to do the same." Carter was silent. "That won't be easy," Marcus smiled. "It doesn't have to be easy." He looked at the alien commander. "It just has to be real." The message spread across Earth. For the first time in human history, every surviving government received the same order. "Stand down. No missiles. No attacks. No revenge. No retaliation." Some refused. Others hesitated. But then something unexpected happened. Soldiers began lowering their weapons. People who had spent weeks fighting stopped. In cities across the world, humans walked out of shelters without guns. The remaining alien forces did the same. One by one, their weapons went silent. The alien commander watched the transmissions. "They're actually doing it," Marcus nodded. "People are tired of war." The commander looked at him. "We were tired once." Marcus turned. "What happened?" The alien was silent. Then he answered, "We stopped believing peace was possible." Marcus looked at Earth. "Then maybe that's the difference." The judge began processing the data. The countdown started. 10 minutes. Ryan looked at Marcus. "What happens when it reaches 0? Marcus shook his head. "We don't know." Sarah stepped beside them. "Then we better hope we passed." Daniel looked at the screen. "Hope isn't exactly a plan." Marcus smiled. "It's all we've got." The countdown continued. 9 minutes, 8, 7. Across Earth, people waited. No weapons fired. No armies moved. Even the alien ships remained still. Then the judge detected something. A new message appeared. Conflict level decreasing. The countdown stopped. Everyone watched. Another message appeared. Cooperation level increasing. Ryan smiled. "Oh, that's good." Marcus nodded. Then the screen changed again. "Final question." Marcus stepped closer. The judge asked one question. "If given the power to destroy your enemies, what will you choose?" The room became silent. The alien commander looked at Marcus. Everyone waited for his answer. Marcus thought about the cities that had burned, the people they had lost. Sarah, Daniel, Ryan, Carter, everyone who had fought to keep humanity alive. Then he answered, "We choose not to become them." The judge remained silent. Marcus continued, "Destroying our enemies won't make us better." Ryan stepped beside him. "We'll protect ourselves." Sarah joined them. But we won't destroy another world just because we fear it, Daniel smiled. And if they attack again? Marcus looked at the alien commander. Then we defend ourselves. The commander nodded. For the first time, he lowered his weapon. We will not attack. The judge processed the statement. Then the final message appeared. Evaluation complete. Nobody breathed. A final line appeared. Species status. Survival approved. Ryan closed his eyes. Daniel laughed. Sarah smiled. Carter sat down in silence. Marcus stared at the message. Then the judge continued. Alien species status. Survival approved. The commander looked shocked. Marcus turned toward him. You survived too. The alien looked at Earth. Because you chose differently, Marcus nodded. Maybe that's the point. The judge began withdrawing from the solar system. The enormous structure slowly disappeared into space. The alien fleet remained, but this time it wasn't attacking. The commander transmitted one final message to his people. Earth is no longer a target. The fleet turned away. Before leaving, the commander contacted Marcus. We owe your species a debt, Marcus smiled. No. The commander waited. Just don't come back. The alien almost smiled. We won't. The fleet disappeared beyond the stars. For the first time in months, humanity looked at the sky without fear. Years later, the ruins of the old cities were still visible, but new buildings stood beside them. Children played where battles had once taken place. The old alien towers became memorials, not monuments to victory, reminders of what happened when one civilization believed it had the right to control another. Marcus stood on a hill overlooking a rebuilt city. Ryan joined him. You ever think about how close we came? Marcus looked at the skyline. Every day. Sarah and Daniel approached. Carter followed behind them. The four stood together in silence. The world wasn't perfect. There were still arguments, still borders, still fear. But there was something different now. People remembered. They remembered what war had cost. And they remembered the choice that had saved them. Marcus looked toward the stars. Ryan asked, What are you looking at? Marcus smiled. Nothing. He turned away. Just making sure they're gone. The others laughed. Above them, the night sky remained quiet. For the first time, humanity wasn't waiting for an invasion. It was building a future. And somewhere beyond the stars, another civilization was looking toward Earth, not as a target, not as a resource, but as a world that had survived. A world that had been given one final choice, and chose to remain human. The end.